Okay.
But what's the difference anyway?
Let's begin. So remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the conversation that happens between Yaakov and his children, and remember how Yaakov wants to reveal when the Geula is coming, and he wants to tell his children, I'm going to tell you exactly when the Geula is coming. And what does kids tell him? He's trying to reveal it, and then the Shekhinah leaves him. And as the Shekhinah leaves him, he looks at them and he says, maybe some of you are idol worshippers. Maybe there's a problem of avodah zara, not idol worshippers, foreign avodah, technically. And they say, no, nothing like that. Shema Yisrael, listen, Yaakov, listen, Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem is one. And he says, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Eloheinu V'Od. So we discussed how what that means is that it's not that that Yaakov was suspecting them of actually serving idols. It's that the suspicion was, this is the explanation of the Baal HaTanya, whose Yortzeit is today. So it's the right time to work on this. He says, the question wasn't when, do you actually bow down to idols? That wasn't the issue. The issue was, there's what's called God present in your life. And when Hashem is present in your life, life just is totally different. Is Hashem present in your life? Or are you afraid? Are you scared? Are you worried? Are you concerned? You know all the things that happen to us when Hashem is not present in our life? That was the question. So Yaakov says to his children, I don't know, I get a hunch, I get a feeling that by you, Hashem is not ever present and he's not real. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, if Yaakov was sitting with us, what would he say? We like to say, I'm a religious Jew. What do you mean? I'm from. What does it mean I'm from? I keep Shabbos, I keep kosher, right? I do all that stuff. And he's saying, yeah, but my question is not that. My question is Hashem present with you in your life? Do you really, really, really internalize this? Do you have emunah? For real, is a part of your being, is it etched onto who you are? And I suspect, I get a feeling that sometimes you have, you don't feel God for real. You know, like when you get scared, anxious, worried, nervous, all that stuff. That's when Hashem is not present. And what the Shvatim were answering Yaakov is not the way it seems like. They said, no, it's not true. We do believe in Hashem. He says, you don't believe in Hashem? I think you're serving idols. No. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Echad. We do believe in Hashem. No. What they're saying is, you know how you're suspecting us and you're right that we sometimes are worried a little bit? Well, the solution to unworry is to Shema Yisrael, to internalize, to meditate and reflect on the Yisrael inside of us. Shema, listen to your own Yisrael. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem our God, Hashem is one. Hashem is inside of us. And when you learn how to do that, then life changes completely. So in other words, it's not a theory, it's a very practical thing. It's a practical way of how we find a relationship with the one God inside of us. That's what it's about. So whenever you're feeling that sense of lacking, what you do is you say, you don't just say, you live and you embody and you feel and you reflect on Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. What I want to do today is go deeper into this and find some practical application of this. Okay, how do we actually apply and actually realize and internalize this Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem our God, Hashem is absolute and one. And what's it got to do with you and me? Why do I have to know this, and when do I have to do this, and how does it actually apply? Okay, so I want to take an actual, real scenario. Let's just say, for example, right? Everyone here looks like they are mechanchim, teachers, on some level, educators, educating a child, responsible for others. You ever wonder sometimes when you're responsible for others, you're like, how did I ever become responsible for somebody else when I can't even figure out myself? Right? Like, I don't know how to even, I'm still trying to figure out me, and I have to already figure out and help someone else and educate someone else. So here's what happens, right? Imagine, I'm going to give you a real scenario of an actual question that I was asked some time ago, changing a few details up. So what happens if you have a 12-year-old kid and you decided to not give your 12-year-old a phone? No phones allowed because phones are not good. No phones. And one day, your 12-year-old child, you discover, like, he's in his room for a little bit too long on Shabbos afternoon. And you just see like a couple hours and you're wondering, what is going on there? What's to do in that room? And you open the door and you peek in and you try to figure out, whatever. And when you come in, he's reading a book. Nothing's going on. And then you're like trying to figure it out. And late night, Motzei Shabbos, when the kid's not there or the kid's sleeping, you come into the room and you look around. You're trying to understand what was going on in the room. And for whatever reason, you didn't even know why, but you picked up the mattress. And under the mattress, you find a phone. And then you're wondering, how did they connect to the internet? And you see it wasn't such a big deal. Evidently, the neighbors have internet, and it's open. And that was it. Now, and you look a little bit deeper, and you very quickly find that your beautiful angel spent 2 hours on Shabbos on the phone, watching, doing whatever they were doing. Maybe not even bad stuff yet, but they're 12 years old. And this is the first time that your child, your beautiful, delicious, darling, angel child, was Mechal Shabbos. Painful. How do you react at that moment?
Well, not only was he Mechal Shabbos,
He also lied and
he did not. That's
and has a phone.
Lied, didn't tell anyone, right?
And he was like, "There's just too much here."
And he's
I
not.
feel like I would go to sleep. We did so much.
He didn't even know he had a phone. He has a
Didn't know how to
from
phone,
somewhere.
didn't know.
It was Monday night, and he was
Not just that,
phone.
not-
It would be
you know what
so
the-
horrible.
You know what I think the problem is to our generation? I didn't know it was possible to get a phone and then get on the internet. How do you do all that? Like,
Right, we
how
got
did you figure that one out?
How do they have the money for it?
Like when I need a phone,
Pay the monthly bill.
when I need a phone, it's like such a whole thing to get a phone and to get whatever. It's not simple.
Well, it's probably not that hard. They have money, they buy for $150, like a
Yeah.
smartphone, and then they just connect to Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
They don't have to have a plan.
like so
But you
easy.
have to have a password. I mean, most people have a password even on their.
Yeah, and somehow-
You have to even know that.
Right, but I'm sure they,
And the kid figured it out.
You can figure it out.
My Wi-Fi, they even know where it is. My password of the Wi-Fi.
You could
Not
change
the
that.
password of their stuff, but like
Right.
the Wi-Fi. In
You
the
could
house.
change your
In fact, the
Wi-Fi.
problem is sometimes that they know more than you what there is to know. That's the problem.
It's true.
That's a real issue. Right. So the shaila is, how do we react?
It
Okay.
hurts. It hurts.
What?
Feeling? It hurts.
It hurts. Right. So how do we generally react when it hurts?
To them?
What do? You just found them, you caught them red-handed in the act. In the middle of it, you just saw them doing it.
I had a situation similar, and I walked away. It wasn't a shock, but I walked away, and I had to breathe.
And then you breathed and you kept quiet and you came back and
And I explained to them that I love them very much.
Yeah.
And they can always feel safe to speak to me.
beautiful. So you explain that you love them very much. And can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is it safe to speak to you?
Yes.
Why?
Because this is how the hardest times is this kind of times when you want to blow up at them, but like you take a deep breath and
Yeah, but you
decide
said no to the phone.
Right.
So
no, it wasn't a phone, whatever, it was
Whatever,
a
you
situation
said no.
What I want to ask you is this.
that's what I
Are
do
you-
also. I sit and I talk and talk and talk.
No,
But are
I
you-
told them that I was shocked.
Right, so I just want to ask you this.
No,
Are you
it's
blowing
not
up
that.
inside you when this happens? And you're just pretending to not be blowing up?
No, if I'm blowing up, I take it in, I breathe.
That's pretty smart. So you go blow up,
Yes,
and then you come back and you unblow.
yes,
Deflated.
yeah, a little bit, but then I still present that I'm upset,
So
but not like in the way that you
Right.
can talk to me about.
But are you upset?
Yes, I'm disappointed.
It's very upsetting. Right. So let's first philosophize a bit before we get to tachlis. Because I think that in order to be a parent, it's not enough to learn parenting. That's not sufficient. Parenting, it's like when you're trying to be married and you're going to a marriage therapist. And you don't need a marriage therapist, you need a therapist for yourself to figure out who you are. Never mind the spouse. The spouse is not the problem. I'm the problem. So it's about me being content with me. I'm not sure it's therapy that we need so much as like just an understanding and a relationship with myself that's healthy and knowing who I am. And the only way to know who I am is to know what I'm here for, what the purpose is, what I'm trying to achieve in this life. And then to understand who my God is, what Hashem wants from me, and what tools he gave me to achieve what he wants from me. So I'm going to go back all the way to the beginning, right away to the beginning of creation. And from there, we can answer our issues. Let's try. First verse in the whole Torah, the first pasuk, what does it say? Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'es. In the beginning, when Hashem bara, what's bara? Created heaven and earth. How did he create heaven and earth? What did Hashem do to create heaven and earth? The first thing we want to do is flip completely the story of creation. Which means, when you say Hashem created heaven and earth, what do you think of? Hashem, what comes to mind? How do you create the heaven and earth? How does Hashem create?
Words?
With words. So what did he do?
He said and it was.
He said, can we do this? And it was. Right? Like that. What we're going to do is change that action. Instead of like creating the world, go like this. Created the world. Removes himself. Which means Hashem didn't create the world. Hashem allowed space for the world. Remember we discussed that? He doesn't make the world. He removes himself to allow space for human beings. Just like a parent moves away to allow space for a child to be. So Hashem pulls back to allow you to feel yourself and to exist and to be happy. And the mashal to do this is the X-ray. Did we ever discuss the X-ray mashal? No. So how do you take pictures today? You want to take a picture, what do you do? I take my camera and I take a picture of you. And then takes a picture of you, whatever is involved in that. But there's another way of taking pictures, and it's called X-rays. And what you do when you do with an X-ray is exactly the opposite of what you do when you take a picture. When you take a picture of an X-ray, you actually don't take a picture. It's like, remember those old days when they had the negatives? Such old times. You used to have that thing you put inside the camera, this film, the Kodak film, you put inside, and then you take out the film, and what was beautiful about those days was you actually had 36 pictures to take. And so you counted the 36 pictures. You didn't just snap every little thing that happened. When something happened, it was a picture moment. And then you had those 36 things, you put them in, and you gave them in to be developed. And development means to take the negative, find the negative, and transform the negative into a positive. What's a negative? It's the opposite of the picture, which is there. So similarly, when you have an X-ray, imagine if I want to draw my hand. What's the best way? I want to take my hand on a piece of paper, put a paper, and I want to draw my hand. What's the best way to draw the hand? So one way is trace it. Trace the hand, then remove the hand and fill it in. Now you have a hand. That's how we draw generally. Make an image and then you color it in. But there's another way to draw, the way kids love drawing.
Paint and then put it on.
Paint, what do you mean?
Paint your palm.
Well, I mean the other way. Put your hand in the paper and then throw paint all over. And then pick up your hand. And what's going to happen? You're going to have a hand on the paper.
Those are the lefties.
Right?
No problem.
Now,
Oh, they're the best.
when you look at the paper and you see the hand on the paper, what are you actually seeing? On the
part that
paper.
Didn't get painted.
Right? The hand is the paper. The paper was always white. The hand is still white. The fact that the rest of the paper is blue is because you painted the rest of the paper. You actually didn't paint the hand. That's why you see a hand. Now try the same thing. I hope no one's a radiologist over here and going to argue with me about how x-rays are done, but I'm going to take my shot. When you make an x-ray, you take a solution, whatever it's called, formalin, I don't know what it's called, but they take a solution, right? You want to go through so they take a solution, they say here, inject it inside you. Contrast solution, okay? And you have to like gulp this horrible thing. And then they want to find, it goes through your esophagus, all the way down into your intestines, into your stomach, your intestine, and then it's going around and around and around and around. And what they want to discover is there any blockage? What's the best way to discover a blockage? One way to discover if there's a blockage is to open you up, cut you up, and discover, is there a blockage? Not pretty. Not what we're looking to do. So what we really want to do is find a better way to do it. So what they do is they'll give you the solution and you drink it and it goes down your system all the way down and around and all the way in and out. And then they take a picture of you. When they take a picture, what's really happening is that solution rejects the picture. So you can't take a picture of that solution. And therefore, you can take a picture of everything else. So when you're going to see white, and then whenever there's a blockage, it didn't get through. That white that you're seeing is the same as the hand with that image. It's actually not there. Or when they take a picture of your teeth, and then you see the teeth. The reason you see the teeth is because you're actually not seeing the teeth. Does it make sense? It's like you take a picture of the gums and everything around, that goes straight through, but the teeth, it doesn't go through. So what you see on the picture is the teeth. X-rays are images of things you don't see instead of images of things that you do see. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'haaretz would be Hashem X-rayed the world into existence. You're like, what? Well, he didn't make the world. He removed himself so that the world comes out. You with me? So you don't see Hashem, and then he puts himself in. So, okay, who cares? What's the difference?
Well, you thought about it, you already not angry with your kids.
Yeah, what? You thought?
You took time to think about it,
Ah.
so you're already away from there.
I love the idea. Except I try to philosophize about.
You have to see that.
Never did something.
And allow it.
All we're going to get to is this. There wasn't philosophy, nor was it history. History means that 5,782 years ago, when Hashem decided to get the world into being, this is how he made the world into being. So think, okay, great, very interesting. You X-rayed the world into being. That's what it means. Bereshis bara, Hashem removes himself from the picture. I get it. And Hashem's like, no. I want to rephrase this. Hashem didn't once upon a time create the world. We say every single day in davening, there's no battery power to the world. The correct answer when you say, how old is the universe? And we Jews are like, no, it's not 4 billion years old, it's 5,780. It's not. How old is the universe? The answer is One moment. That's how old it is. At any given time, the world is being created now. And why is that? Well, because of this principle. Because if Hashem made the world, which is what we generally mean when we say created, we might as well just say made. If Hashem made the world, then he made it once, and then that's it, done. Hashem didn't make the world once upon a time. What he did was he removed himself from the picture and allowed a world to be. You know what that would be like? Imagine that you have these two fellows in your mind that you're going to imagine. And imagine these two guys in your mind, you're actually able to give them absolute freedom of choice to decide whether you exist or not. And they're having a conversation if you exist. And you're like, how do they have a conversation about me if I exist, if I'm the one who's thinking that? Makes no sense. What?
I said I've watched way too many movies. It's just...
But there's these two guys in my mind having a conversation. Do I exist? That's the same as us sitting over here right now talking about the existence of Hashem. That is what's going on. What's impressive about him is that he keeps on pulling himself out of the picture. So that's why he's God. We don't know how to do that. He does that. And you and I actually feel that we really exist. Wow. It's amazing. Like I'm there, I exist. Yeah. Because Hashem allows you to exist. He doesn't create the world once and walks away. He keeps on creating the world every single second. And we want to be mindful of that. We want to ponder every single day that Hashem creates, removes himself from the picture again and again and again. And Hashem is actually present right here, right now, in this moment. That's the key. Hashem is absolutely here. Why don't I see him? Well, the Pasuk says, translate these words. Asher bara Elokim lasos. English?
Hashem has created so
The world
To do.
to do. Asher bara Elokim. Bara means
That's
vacated. Why did Hashem vacate and allow the name Elokim to take over? There are two names of Hashem, Yud-Kei, Vav-Kei, and Elokim. Elokim is the numerical value of 86, which is Hateva, 86. Why did Hashem remove himself from the picture and allow nature to exist? The answer is Lasois, which means for you to be able to do and to accomplish yourself. He removes himself like a parent takes himself away. I'm not going to do this, so that when you do it, it's yours and you feel amazing about this. And that's the word Asher bara Elokim lasos. Translate Asher. That. But translate Ashrei Yeshvei Veisecha. What does that mean? Joy. Wow. Asher, the excitement that I get to make God revealed where he's not revealed. What an amazing schus I have. It's an absolute power that I'm getting to reveal God in a space where he would not be able to be without me. You see, Hashem is not revealed for a simple reason, to allow you to reveal himself. Now let's take that principle and bring it down to real life. Hashem didn't create the world once upon a time. He's creating the world at this second. Every single thing that happens to you in this second is Elokim, nature, God moving himself to allow you to find Hashem in that space, in that moment. And what you want to do is find God in that space, in that moment, because you know from the X-ray that he's actually ever present now. The fact that I don't see him is just because he's removed. My job is to reveal Hashem in the moment. So now let's try educate our children. Before we can educate our children, we said, we educate ourselves. So the scenario is, I walked in, I saw my child, 12 years old, got a phone, which I didn't know about, figured out how to use it, passwords and all, and then use the phone on Shabbos for 2 hours without my knowing. Add the list to all the things that I'm absolutely fuming and blowing up inside of me. The first thing to do is to keep quiet and say absolutely nothing. And that's because you need to process. Because if you speak, you will be speaking from the default setting. The default setting will always be negative. And you're going to scream and you're going to get upset. So you go back into your own space. And what you want to do is undo the tzimtzum, undo the concealment of God that's happening now. And here's how we do it. Let's take some principles. Hashem is actually present everywhere, every moment, every space. He's actually there. Why don't I see God here now? Why? Asher bara Elokim. What was the reason?
It's my role to reveal them.
Last time, for me to be able to reveal him. So the first thing is, chill out. Nothing happened that was problematic. The first problem is that you labeled the problem a problem. That's not a problem. Nothing's wrong. Everything's absolutely fine. Calm. And why is it fine?
It's an opportunity.
There you go. Every single thing that happens in life is a place where God is not, and you're going to find him. Not sad faces, happy faces. Problem, solution. Anything that happens, whatever happens in life, is not a challenge to your sanity, is not trying to get at you and to destroy you and to kill you. Or let's put it the way we parents think. What's going to be? My child is already 12 years old and doing this. So when they're 22, I'm not going to be able to find the shidduch for them because they're already this. I know this is the beginning of a path, and you start thinking about all the problems that could go wrong. At 15, it's going to be drugs. And then who knows what, swearing, tattoos, and whatever. And you're already all in that space. And the kid's just 12. And you walk into the kid, and you have all this baggage on you. Mommy's not frustrated. No, well, I'm very, happy. And then you start talking to the kid. But you're fuming inside, and you're absolutely worried and concerned and anxious over what's going to be over here. And it's written all over you, and you're talking from that space. And when you talk from that space, the kid's going to hear all over that I'm bad. And you know what's going to happen? Exactly that. And you'll say, I knew it. I knew it would happen. See, I already anticipated it. But that's what Iyov says. Pachad, pochadati, vaye'esoyeni. The fear that I feared happened to me. I feared, therefore it happened. Whatever I'm afraid of manifests itself and actually happens because we live in that space. If I live in the space of neediness and negativity, and that's what happens to me. And if I can switch that space and say, no, nothing's wrong. It's not about me. Hashem is present every single space. Wherever you see, you find God. And it's just a little space where there's no God over there, like the X-ray. So what am I going to do? Find God. The first way to find God is to feel like Hashem's messenger. I must have mentioned this, but I'll mention it again because, the more I think about it, the more incredible moment. This kid comes over to me, Erev Rosh Hashanah, and he says to me, he's excited. He's going to yeshiva, to school, and it's just him and his mom. They have no family, no one in the world, absolutely nothing, and he needed desperately to be in a dorm in the yeshiva, but he's going to dormitory. And I said to the kid, that's great. Wow. And then I asked my wife, what's up tuition? How much is tuition then? And she says, $24,000. So I told the kid, I'm like, so nice. Wow. So he said, I didn't say a word. He just sensed that I was talking about the tuition. He got it. He's not dumb. He's a 14-year-old kid. So I said to him, yeah, and and he says, my mother told me that Hashem will take care of everything. Hashem will take care of me. It'll all be good. I said, okay. I love the bitachon. Hashem's going to take care of you. And I'm like, there's no way in the world that you're getting $24,000 to go. And if they're not going down, then in price, then what exactly is going to happen? Yeah, I'm going right after Sukkot. I'm going to Yeshiva. Excellent. And then on Erev Yom Kippur, at 1:00 in the afternoon, I got someone sent me a Sikha of Lubavitch Rebbe from 66 years ago. And in the Sikha, he says that if you want Hashem to take care of you on Yom Kippur, why should he? And you don't deserve it. So find someone you don't know and never met before and never will meet again and ask them, what do you need? Everything you need for Yom Tov, and just take care of them and give them whatever they need. And Hashem will take care of you. And then I took this, I saw the Sikha, so I'm like, that's pretty nice, amazing. So it was 1:00 in the afternoon, Erev Yom Kippur. I was by my in-laws who were eating a Suda, 5-6 hours before Yom Kippur, and I pressed send, and I sent it all to everybody. And I was like amazed. Jews are amazing. They started, everyone was like, whew, people telling me, I was in the grocery store, I found someone, I gave it to them within minutes, literally. Tons of money was being given out. Okay, it was also Erev Yom Kippur, fine. People are in the mood. And then people started calling me, like, I don't know anyone. Could you tell me who to give? I'm like, I know a lot of people. Yeah, I do. So if you want, I'll give you some people. I was calling this one, that one, whoever I could think of. And I was just, yeah. And then my wife tells me, but the boy, I'm like, one second. It says on the Sikha about Yom Tov, and they care of Yom Tov. That's not Yom Tov, it's tuition. And that's not $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. It's $24,000. What should I tell someone? You want to give $24,000? She says, I don't know. Why not? So the next guy calls up. Yeah, literally, the 30 seconds later, a guy calls me up. Yankee May is his name. And I said to him, I'm not trying to tell you this, but he says, who can I help? I said, well, there's this kid. He needs $24,000. It took him 3 seconds, and he's like, I got it. I'll do it.
Wow.
I'll raise the money. It's like, what? So I'll raise the money. And then 3 days later, on Friday night, his sister, who was helping him do it, comes over to the house. She comes to my wife. She says, thank you. Like, thank you for what? Thank you for giving me the schus to help someone I don't know and never met and never will meet, and to be able to give him everything he needs to sponsor him. Like, that's pretty impressive that you're coming to say thank you. And the kid didn't know this whole story and doesn't know the whole story. Maybe one day he'll watch the video and listen to the other story. But right now he doesn't know, and he went to Yeshiva. And then he darts off, and he says, see, Rabbi? It doesn't. I wasn't involved. He doesn't know. Hashem, my mother said Hashem would help. Hashem helped. See, you thought he wouldn't help, and he helped. And when he said that, I called up Yankee and I said, wow, do you realize what just happened there? Like, Hashem, in his mind, Hashem said he would help, and Hashem helped. Hashem helped him. He did. And you had the absolute privilege of, you're Hashem Shliach. You just stood in the way, and Hashem said, I want to give this kid something. And you became Hashem's absolute conduit to bring down the energy to this child, to give him what he needs. You represented Hashem. That's powerful. And it's right there. Like a prophet, like a Navi, like it's just a Ruach HaKodesh, like absolute ability to just, okay, you need this, and I have that, so I'm going to give it to you, and I become a conduit and Hashem's absolute channel. Like you say in davening, that's the request we make. Hashem's fosai tiftachu fi yagiti lasecha. Open my lips and my mouth, just channel your praise.
You were the shopper, no?
I got to be part of it, yeah. Because my wife really wasn't. I just I just said, okay.
It's a pure faith of a child.
Yeah. I just went straight without any mishaps. Nothing.
This kid's gonna have the most confidence for the rest of his life. It's just unbelievable.
Just ask Hashem and he gives
He's
you.
always gonna have this like pure,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
pure, unadulterated faith.
That's what we want to do all the time. Instead of when you see that kid and the 12-year-old now, back to that 12-year-old who's using the phone on Shabbos, instead of going to the kid and saying, oh my gosh, you just ruined my whole chinuch and everything about, like, you see the ego there? And that ego is what's going to block the hashpah, the channeling of Hashem's presence. In order to educate correctly, work on yourself first. Go to the other room quietly and think about this. Hashem has a child. Okay, he's my child too. But there's 3 partners to every child. And frankly, Hashem is probably the main partner. Not like we know anything how to make children and they come out perfect. It's quite incredible. Hashem really knows what he's doing. So it's Hashem's kid. Hashem put that kid and made him mine. Okay? So that means whatever's coming to that kid is coming through me. So what I got to do now is stop blocking Hashem. Let Hashem do his work. Okay, God, go for it. All yours. What do you want? What I want is for you to feel that there's no pressure on you to perform. You don't need to prove anything to prove anything. Just feel special. What an amazing privilege you have to light up neshamas, to light up souls. My child is a child of Hashem. And I get to bring Hashem down into this world. So you see why I'm saying about the whole, Hashem is here, he's real. And all he's doing is creating, moving away, and vacuuming spaces. And every time I see a problem, that's that first pasuk in the Torah. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz mean. My child, use the phone on Shabbos. That's the same as Hashem vacated space. And what's the reason? Lasos. Asher bara Elokim, lasos. He didn't vacate space for you to get mad and angry. That wasn't the goal. He vacated space for you to unvacate the space. Sad? Make happy. Change negative into positive. Go for it. How do you change a negative into positive? By first of all feeling that and realizing how special it is to be Hashem's shliach. And that requires meditation. I'm a neshama. I'm a chelik elikam imal mamish. I'm a part of God. And I'm getting to be the channel to reveal Hashem to my child. That's part 1. Then do the same thing about my child. What's my child? He's Hashem's only child. He's a ben yachid of Hashem. Hashem says, B'ni b'choyri Yisrael. That's when Moshe Rabbeinu goes out to take the Eden out of Mitzrayim. He says, tell Paro, Hashem says, B'ni b'choyri Yisrael. I love these guys. Like I love my child, my firstborn child. Every single Jew on his own is a firstborn child of Hashem. Means you have a soul. He loves you. That child of yours, the one who's just used that phone on Shabbos, is Hashem's only child. And when you look at that, you start feeling an energy of love towards this child. See, if I'm focused on the use of the phone, if I'm focused on where you got the phone, then I quickly focus on you didn't listen to me. You were disobedient. Negative energy. All that negative energy is going to produce negative results. That's what the Yetzer Hara is looking for. He wants to destroy this family. And what you want to do is say, okay, so I'm a divine being, channeling Hashem's energy to you, and you're also a divine being. You know what problems are in the world? Shlomo HaMelech says, Ner Hashem nishmas Adam. The candle of God is the soul of man. Your soul is actually a candle. So how do you light a candle? You have to have a flame on a wick in oil. Have you ever tried placing a flame directly into oil? Take oil, light it up. What's going to happen? It's going to get quickly extinguished. Because what does oil do to flames? Oil actually extinguishes flames. When you have a huge tanker spill in the ocean, and there's oil all over and there's fire, do you know that the fire actually is not on the oil? It's because there's things inside there. And those things are burning. And if you put stuff inside the oil, flammable stuff inside the oil, then the oil fuels the fire. So a fire in oil does nothing. A fire in a wick in oil, that's how you make fire. Now the wick is, what's the wick? The wick's a nothing.
It's us, really.
So the Balatanya uses the following analogy. The wick, he says, is whatever situation you have going on in life. It's a wick. It's a space. It's a problem, right? A wick is just a little nothing. That wick is the space where you can make fire. What's the fire? Ner Hashem nishmas Adam. The fire is your soul. And every single moment is an opportunity to light a flame, to light a fire. Instead of looking at it as a problem, look at it as a wick. If you bring oil to the wick, it can light up. My child used the phone, messed me up, desecrated Shabbos, etc., etc. I don't see any problem. All I see is wicks. Every single one of those things that I call bad, an affront, negative, is just a wick. And if you bring some oil there, you're going to be able to light up the child's soul over there. You can't light up souls without wicks. You need problems. Problems are not problems. They're opportunity. It's a wick to bring oil to light up. So I'm going to go back to my fire. I'll go back to myself in my own inner chamber. I enter my own space. Calm, cool, collected. I'm thinking to myself about how Hashem is ever present over here. Hashem is present every space, every moment. God is right here. And God is being manifest through me. You can actually do that and feel the energy of Hashem as it enters into you. And you want to switch from being angry and frustrated to allow yourself to feel opportunity and to see, no, don't take this personally. Nothing personal going on over here. It's all divine. Now I'm going to think about my child and how the child is a divine being. And I'm going to accept that the difficult part, the only difficult part of chinuch is this part. Because I'm angry. And I have to accept and realize that that anger is the only problem. The only thing in the way of Hashem revealing himself to this child is my anger. And what I want to do is flip the anger to opportunity, the anger itself. Right? Because when you get angry, the reason, if you wouldn't care, if you'd be sitting up there like, all fine, all good, what would happen? Well, then you wouldn't do anything about it. So the anger is actually the opportunity that you have to go do something. It's spurring you on to want to do something. Just take the anger out of the anger. So I'm going to sit down and work very, very, very hard. This is the most difficult part. You might need to call a friend up and to tell them how angry you are so that the anger maybe dissipates a little bit. That you don't feel as angry because you said you were angry. And then you start working on yourself to feel the power of Hashem in this moment, the power of God. Wow, wow, wow. I have this chus to be channeling Hashem right down to my child. And the child's a chelek elokam mamish. And the more you do it, by the way, the better you get at it. And if I can be in that space, then I look at the opportunity and I say, wow, you know what this is, an opportunity? It's a wick to light up the oil. So I walk into my child's room, and my eyes are going to be looking at the kid with absolute love. And the kid's like, uh-oh. And what it is a matter of enveloping the kid with this energy that says, all love. I feel you. I feel how special you are. And I'm walking into the room, I'm your parent, I'm just enveloping you. There's an energy in the room. There's like this unspoken energy when you walk inside. I'm going to create this ambiance in the room of absolute conviction and love. And then the kid looks at me and like, okay, what do you want? So I want to tell you. And now you have to say it. But you're not upset anymore. You might want to dive into Hashem at this point and ask Hashem for one thing, to maintain that presence, that this should all work, and you shouldn't be theorizing it. Because when you do this, it works. It is the way to bring Hashem down. It's just that we don't do it properly. And it's not double or nothing. The better you do it, the better it is. So I dive into Hashem to help me to be able to feel the sense of the divine inside me. And then I walk over to the kid and I encircle the kid with a hug. A real hug, number one. That's good. An absolute sense of love. And then a virtual hug. A virtual hug is, in the past, you've always been sweetie pie. You've always been the most amazing child. You know, I feel that, like, whenever I see you, I see in the neshama a light. So beautiful, your relationship with Hashem. I see how you daven. I see how you treat your little siblings. I see that, you know, how you care for others. And you enumerate some of the good, wonderful, amazing things a child does. And I see how you keep on doing this. I'm moving now into the present. I'm hugging the child virtually. I see how you keep on doing this all the time. You're so beautiful, so special. Now throw it in. And I know that life can be challenging sometimes. And sometimes we get desires. Also, Mami, Tati, get sometimes, you know, not perfect. And we do things that are negative and that are wrong. And sometimes on Shabbos, we get, you know, we get a phone. We have a taiva to use the phone. And it's not easy. It's not easy to control ourselves. And we're all by ourselves, and we might want to ask others for help. But you should know that that's part of being a Yid. It's being able to fight against the Yetzer Hara, time and again, to push and to win and to overcome. And now I move to the future. And I know that you're going to be absolutely amazing. You're going to have the power. And I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. You're going to fall and rise. But every time you do it, you're getting closer and closer to Hashem. And Mami is always here to talk and to be with you. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to take away the phone and take away the possibility of this happening again and putting the taiva in front of the kid. But which way do you think gets you more and further? Walking in and screaming and shouting, Mommy's angry and mad, and how could you ever bother me? And what's the kid going to do? Do it again just because he feels like a lowlife. Or perhaps if I walked inside this kind of presence, the child's going to feel, I'm so loved, I'm so cared for, I'm so connected. And I feel like Hashem is speaking to me. I really feel like Hashem sent me, this parent of mine, to actually give me straight his word. And they're being a conduit, and they're not blocking his path because they themselves are not blocked. And then the word gets across. Because Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'haaretz, it's an ongoing moment. What you just did is, you just did the lasis, the accomplishment of, and I found God in that space where he never was before. And that avodah is something we need to keep on doing. It's not about how we educate others. It's not about how we relate to our spouses and to our children and to everyone out there in the relationships with others. It's about how we relate to ourselves. And we see ourselves as divine beings, always present with Hashem, always there. Then we have the power to overcome, to win. And that's the difficult part. Feeling God to ourselves.
Thank you.
This one right now. I need to forward this to everyone.
I think we're I feel like any school principal